Hey Diego, this is Benny. Benny Pino with Loblolly Organic Farm. It's great to finally meet you, and I say finally because I've been listening to your show about 2 years now, and I'm a real avid supporter. I've told so many people about you and the great work that you're doing, and I want you to know from the bottom of my heart that you have definitely helped my farming career tremendously. It always amazes me to hear you talk about the amount of contribution you get from supporters and that it's not way overwhelming, that it's not so much more tremendous. And I really support that you're going on to do your ads. I'm glad that you are because you really deserve to do well with the hard work that you're putting out there. It's a tremendous resource. Most people would be charging so much for it. And I am a big believer in free knowledge in terms of getting out the good information. And I'm really glad that there's someone out there like you who's sort of the same mindset. Obviously, your information is valuable and you need to get paid for it to some degree, but at the end of the day, it shows that you have a really big heart, that you're willing to get out there and share the information despite making a fortune. There's a true testament to your ethics, and I resonate a lot with that. So that being said, I really would like to interview with you. I was very excited with your 100th episode coming out and you speaking about how you have more latitude now to bring on other interviewees. And I think it would be tremendous for you to interview us. I hope you agree. And this is sort of my application to see if you think there is a fit here. So my thoughts are, first of all, we are Loblolly Organic Farm, and we're not certified yet, but we're working on that. And we're in Brandywine, Maryland. We just recently moved up here, and I say we because it's myself and my wife. We've been married coming on 3 years now, and we started with farming as one of our main shared loves. So she is on the farm here with me, and she is a big part of why I think that we could bring something unique to your audience. First of all, we are a tremendous farming couple, and I don't remember hearing too many episodes where you talked with couples about the dynamics of farming together. So I'm noticing this is shaking a fair bit now. I'm sorry, I'm just recording this with my hand on my phone, so apologies with that. Anyways, so we farm together very successfully, and I think a discussion about how the dynamic plays out, maybe in a co-interview with you interviewing both of us, would be a really good topic. And then the other thing, even a topic that could be ongoing, is about how we are really literally just getting started with $30,000 of debt that we've taken out recently, and how that debt is sort of weighing on us and yet motivating us, and how that will unfold. I know that you've talked with Bear Creek about that, and that was a tremendous interview, but I believe that beyond that, we have so much to tell about our story that's recent, that's very, very timely, so we can unpack detail for detail what we used that FSA loan for, how difficult it was to get, how we managed to get it, and what sort of credentials it would take for other people out there to get it. So there's that. Plus, ongoing is our endeavor to sell flowers as well as our produce. So here on the farm, we are modeling most of what we're doing after Curtis Stone in terms of the efficiencies and in terms of the crops. So, direct seeded, at least half of our crops, and, baby veg and things like that. And then, we're also growing half of our crops to flowers. These are organically grown flowers. That's unique. There's a big story there because most of our flowers come from out of the country. And then, and that's a really big market, by the way. Most people don't know that there are literally billions of dollars spent each year in America on flowers. And it's, as far as agriculture, a huge swath. I can't remember the number right now off the top of my head, but it does really matter a lot in this space. And I feel pretty strongly about how it could be a co-business along with the vegetables. It fits in almost seamlessly. We are using landscape fabric, we're using bio-intensive techniques, and we're having a lot of success without having to fudge the model too much. Now, obviously, we're just getting started, so we have a lot to learn, and we are going to try and fit this model as much to the sort of the paradigms that Curtis and other really strong growers that you've interviewed have utilized, and sort of trim the fat, pick out the best flowers that are the most popular. We will unpack that as the season unfolds. So I think that could be a really tremendous journey. Perhaps your listeners aren't interested, and maybe you notice after a little while and want to drop that, but I think it could really work out. The reason I also say that is because we've had a really strong key amount of interest in the flowers. There have been no less than 10 people that have come directly to me, and I'm talking about growers in this area who are tremendously successful with flowers, and they've told me, we grew veg for a little while, and it was a lot more difficult because of the competition to sell it. So if I haven't already said it, Brandywine is only about 45 minutes outside of DC Central. So we'll be marketing to DC, perhaps Baltimore, and perhaps some towns in Virginia. So we are going to 3 farmers markets, first of all. We're going to sell our veg there along with our flowers, mostly bouquets. And the other big enterprise we have under our wing, so we're starting like 2 businesses at the same time. That's a whole nother topic within of itself too. So I'm spearheading the veg, and Courtney's not only spearheading the flowers, but she's also a designer. She's got 2 years of experience as a design manager down in Florida for a florist who designed for weddings. And that's a big part of our business as well. She's already designed for some weddings up here. She has been featured on a number of really large publications that only put up the very best of weddings. So she's on there. She's got some really strong ads up. She does a knockout job. I mean, really, you'll be impressed when I show you some of her media and some of her proposals when she proposes her application, I should say, or it's called a proposal, and it's a digital mock-up of what these brides are looking for in their wedding, and she listens to them and she interviews them, and I mean, there's a whole huge story there, and I don't know if that's really along the lines of what you're looking for, but it's unique, and she's got a big story to tell there too, and the fact that the flowers for that wedding, for those weddings, will be sourced from our farm in a seasonal way. That's a really cool story, really unique, and she is making a lot of money doing it. She makes between $2,000 and $3,000 per wedding gross, and her margins are 50%. So there's a market there for a lot of people too. The weddings on average in the United States are above $30,000 right now. That's a 2014 statistic. So a big market there for your listeners too. I also wanted to give you just a really brief tour to show you how really dialed in I think our operation is. We have spent the last month and a half putting our infrastructure together, and even though this debt is weighing on us, I have all the confidence in the world. Courtney was just talking to me about that yesterday. She's like, I really think that we're going to do well. So without further ado, let me give you a little farm tour. Let me see if I can hold the phone like this and show you. So here's our barn. We are, another part of our story here is that we are leasing this property. We went on Farm Link, and on Farm Link we found almost instantly this property, which is, I would say it's about 1.5 acres in its entirety. So here's kind of a quick glimpse of the field, and that's a little greenhouse that we used for a little while. It was kind of shady, and we're not using it anymore. But anyways, this is our main field. I'll show you, and that field is about 0.6 acres, and it's our growing site. You can also see 2 caterpillar tunnels that we purchased from Farmer's Friend, A lot of our equipment we purchased from Farmers Friends. You can also see those silage tarps that we got from them. So we got those down, and we're just starting to unroll at that end of the field and do direct seeded crops. And then that part of the field has got a lot of landscape fabric, which also contain a boatload of flower transplants. We're going to grow about 30 flowers to start out, and those varieties will either be trimmed back or expanded depending on how it works out with both of those markets, with the brides and with the farmers markets. So we also have this barn here. This is part of the lease. So we have a year lease with the owners, and the owners are really special. They are big believers in the organic movement and back to landers themselves. They also really want to make this site very specifically for a farm incubator. So we talked with them. They brought down the price, their original asking price, as we told them we're poor farmers, and so we are in a great relationship with them and very happy to be here. Willing to discuss details about that too on the air if you have more questions. So in here, I can give you sort of a glimpse of how our setup looks. So over here to my left, well, let me turn the lights on. So over here is Courtney's studio. So it's like basically one half of the barn, and she's got a floor that was installed by her father, who's a good carpenter. And you'll notice all of our tools up on the wall, ready to grab as we need them. And then over there, 2 shelves so far. I'm sure there'll be a tremendous amount more in the future of these materials that she uses for weddings. And so she's got all of her tools basically dialed in, ready to go. She's very organized and disciplined, and so am I. That's part of why our relationship goes so well. So anyways, we got bikes over there, and over here we got our BCS, our tools on the wall. That fridge is full of seed, and this area I'm pretty excited about. We just started putting that together. This is our farm stand. These are shelves. We're actually going to put together a DIY stand that will, at the farmer's market, look a lot like a grocery store. It'll have 3 shelves, and those 3 shelves will stack our produce, which we will be mostly selling in these containers. Another really tremendous resource that I would love to discuss with you is our digital designer. So if you take a look at this, her name is Rhiannon Hare, and she designed these labels for us for a really, really reasonable price. And she was an intern with us when we were farming in New York. We did 2 years of farming in New York, basically at the beginning of when, you and some other big farming podcasts came out. So, really at a sort of a great time. And so we learned up there for 2 years, and she was one of our woofers. And so that was really a tremendous fortuitous occasion to meet her. And she designed those recently. We have a whole mess of them that I'd like to show you at a future occasion. And that was a really wonderful process that I think your viewers, your listeners, would also benefit from. She loves doing design with farmers, and she has already told me that it would be fine for me to share her information, and you could have her come on the show with us as well. She's a wonderful young lady and very well spoken, and I'm sure she would be happy to share more of what she does, how she does it, and those details. So that also brings up that I think that there's a lot of other marketing aspects. You sort of brought up in your 100th episode that marketing is not spoken enough about and is not popular enough on your show. Well, I think that one of the things that could benefit that is to be a little more specific with individuals who have worked tremendously on that paradigm, on that aspect of farming. And we have done a good job with that. I really feel strongly about our marketing. Courtney's worked very hard to have close to 1,000 followers on Instagram. Our Facebook is happening place. We have barely just started farming, and we're already, well ahead of most farmers who have been doing that sort of social media and other marketing techniques for quite a while. Our stand, when we were at New York, always got compliments, and I do mean always. Every market, it was almost painful to hear it after a while. It was not just that they said, your stand looks great, it's that they would say, your stand looks the best here. So, we feel really strongly about our capability as marketers and would love to speak with your audience about that as well. And I don't know if I already mentioned this, but I am very willing to be as 100% transparent as you would like to be. I feel like one of the great strengths of your show is you've managed to get a lot of your interviewees to be to share a lot. And I think I already said this to you, but anyways, there is no holds bar as far as it goes with that. And you can ask us anything about our numbers, anything about our practices, and we would be happy to share with you. So let me see, does that wrap it up? I would say that's about it. I guess I'll give you the final bit of the tour here. So this is our CoolBot. That's the CoolBot right there. That's actually a converted shed that we DIY'd from Home Depot. Got that thing for only $700, and then all said and done, it cost around $1,500 with the CoolBot, insulated nicely. I'll just show you the inside of that real quick. So in here we have got some flowers for a baby shower that's coming up, and then over on this side we also have a germination chamber. So a lot of the flowers require not only the right temperatures, right? Like, got to be in the 50s to germinate, but then they also require light, and light at the right temperature while being bottom watered very carefully. I mean, it's like the most persnickety of, and I roll my eyes, but it's worth it. It's worth it to do it right. They germinate perfectly, and then you end up with a tremendous something that is twice as expensive as buying the starts is trying to find those flowers. And then on top of that, finding them at all is next to impossible. So flower seed really gives you a tremendous opportunity if you know how to grow it correctly. So this is our wash station. We've got a very nice new sink, and we will be using the proverbial salad spinner right there, and then I'm going to finish that drying table, and that's our potting station down at the back. And we do have a cistern back here. We are working off of a deep water well. Our irrigation is pretty dialed in, overhead and drip. And we also have, just as a little FYI, another piece of property next door that the owners are willing to allow us to use. So there's another 2 acres next door. I don't think we're going to use that. I doubt we're even going to get to use the full 0.6 acres this year. We'll slowly expand into that. And I think that's enough news for now, enough for you to sort of mull over and consider. I'm sure I can think of 100 other topics that we could discuss, and I am, not to sound like I'm bragging or anything, but I'm pretty well read as far as these topics are concerned. And if you wanted me to do research ahead of time in order to really fill out the interviews, to really make them robust and meaningful and convey a lot of information to people, I'm a really big advocate in this whole education movement as far as share the knowledge, man, get it out there, and help each other so that we can basically help the world. I know that sounds a little cheesy, but I really do believe that I'm a nurse. Okay, to give you just a little more background, I believe that one of the biggest hurdles that we are overcoming in this in America right now is the leading causes of death are related to diet. So we've overcome so much. We've overcome death in labor. We've overcome so many surgical necessities, like, appendicitis used to kill you. So things like that, we've overcome, but we now we're eating ourselves to death, and that to me is a little insane. I worked at places where there is a McDonald's attached to the hospital, and people say, "Oh, this hospital's food's so shitty. Can you get me a Big Mac, sweetheart?" And they go downstairs and they get a Big Mac and they bring it upstairs to the room, and lo and behold, that patient is there for coronary artery blockage, heart failure, stroke, you name it. And that needs to change, and we need to find ways to change it. And I feel like, the farmers can make a difference in that regard. That's why I ended up here, is because I want to supply people with access to clean, healthy food, without overcharging them, without, oh, I stuck a label that says organic on there, that means it's got to be 5 times the price. Give me a break. So I'm just starting on this farming journey, and I really hope that it continues to grow so that I can fulfill that mission. That's really my mission. That's what's at the heart of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. That's another thing you brought up at the recent, in your 100th episode, was like, really always keep in your heart why you're doing this, and you'll be so much more successful. And that is exactly where I'm at. And I would love to find ways to convey that across the show, and or discuss it with you on air. Perhaps that's not really an important topic because I haven't fleshed it out yet. But maybe over time, eventually, I'll find ways of doing that. I'm talking with organizations, not-for-profits here, like DC Greens and whatnot, who do have a mission to provide the impoverished with food. Maybe we will go down that avenue. I'm not sure yet. But anyways, it's been really, really great listening to your podcast over these years. Even if you don't select us, I'm still going to be a big-time listener, and really appreciate you taking the time to listen to this. I know it's somewhat long, and you don't have any time on your hands, but hopefully the number of thank yous that I've given out has made it worth it. You have absolutely changed our lives, Diego, and myself, from the bottom of my heart, and Courtney, echoes the sentiment that you have done so much for us, and we truly appreciate it. All right, take care, my man.